Guys, nowadays it seems like they have to make everything about race. Everything has to be about race. And I got a story for you. Actually, I'm going to comment to a story that Dr. Richey did on the Young Turks Network. And this story is about a black female judge that was allegedly told to go to the bathroom in the back of the plane, even though she was first class, and was all due to her race. Guys, watch this.
A retired black female judge on an airplane harassed by a flight attendant. It is a hell of a story. Put up the picture full mass. A lot of twists and turns here. Per Atlanta Black Star, they did great reporting on this. Pamela Hill Veal, a retired black circuit court judge from Chicago, is now suing American Airlines for racial discrimination, claiming a male flight attendant told her to, quote, use the bathroom in the back of the plane, even though she was booked to fly in first class. The federal civil complaint against the airline alleges that the flight attendant, whose name and race were not disclosed, racially profiled her during a flight from Chicago to Phoenix. This happened on February 10th. The incident recalls the historical injustice of Rosa Parks being told to move to the back of the bus. That was almost 70 years ago, which sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, galvanized civil rights movement. And despite the passage of more than 6 decades since the situation involving Parks, incidents like this continue in 2024, highlighting ongoing challenges with racial equality in the United States.
Guys, man, the first thing that sticks out is the fact that they won't disclose the race of the flight attendant. Why? Well, typically they do if the person is white. Because, again, they're trying to bolster a case of racial discrimination. So, again, they try to make the case that the person is being racist. And typically, when you do so, you have to have somebody that's white. Or white adjacent. I think they call it white adjacent. Like Asian or something. But, like I said, typically they include the race when it suits them. When it doesn't, they omit the race. And that's what they're doing right here. So again, I could be wrong, but I don't believe the person is white. But again, what reason could they possibly have other than race to make somebody go to a different bathroom in the back of the plane when they're first class? I mean, it must be. It couldn't possibly be that, maybe the restroom is out of order in the front. Maybe somebody's in there with an issue with the problem. Or maybe there's an issue with the judge herself. But, I mean, again, they have to make it about race. It has to be. Because, again, in today's world, that is what sells. But let's find out a little more that happened.
The lawsuit claims that the flight attendant accused the judge of slamming the lavatory door. Slammed it. When she used it the first time and began hounding the woman as she continued to use the same restroom, even as she was rightfully seated in first class with members of her family. Quote, the flight attendant stopped me as I was returning to my seat and told me I slammed the restroom door and I was not to do it again since passengers were sleeping on the plane. The judge told NPR during a recent interview about the incident. The flight attendant's insolence didn't provoke Judge Hill Veal, who said she ignored the remark and proceeded to walk back to her seat. Believing the man was simply mistaken because she knew she had not slammed the door.
Again, if she did not slam the door, then wouldn't she say that? Wouldn't she say, I didn't slam any door? What are you talking about? I didn't do that. He accused me, but I never did that. Number one. And number two, she had family on board. And she is apparently the only one that had an issue with the flight attendant. That again, we don't know what color the flight attendant is because they don't say that he's white or black or what, they don't say. And again, typically when they don't say, it's because they don't want you to know. But nobody else seemed to have a problem with them. And again, most white supremacists, they would have a problem with any black person, not just one named Pam. I could be wrong. But again, that does kind of stick out to me as an issue. But what else could have happened on that flight?
Later during the flight, the judge got up to use the restroom again, leading to a second encounter with the male flight attendant who attempted to dress down the judge again as she left the restroom and headed back to her seat, the complaint says. However, this time, the reprimand was more severe and had clear racist undertones. He began to berate me by pointing his finger at me toward my face, saying, "I told you not to slam the door. So from now on, you are to use the restroom in the back of the plane." While he pointed in the direction of the restroom and coach, the judge said. By now, the judge said she felt the flight attendant was clearly using the restroom as a pretext to harass her. Now, I find it quite interesting. Sir, whoever the flight attendant is, if the issue is slamming the door and people need to be able to enjoy their flight or get rest on the flight, why would you not care about those at the back of the plane who are resting? I just don't understand the logic here.
Quite possibly the reason why you can't find any logic in it is because it was never said. Quite possibly. And again, most people with an IQ above 65 would think to themselves, wait a minute, this does not make sense. But again, you make your money, and the Young Turks, they make their money by sensationalizing things to make it about race or sex or whatever. That's what they do. That's what you do. Again, you're not wanting to tell the truth. You're not wanting to do an investigative reporting. You're not wanting to. You're not even wanting to think to yourself, this does not sound right. Because your whole objective is telling a story to make people angry, enraged. That's what you're about. And again, we understand that most people, they know that. But also, one thing that sticks out also to me is they never mention race. Again, we have to assume by leaps and bounds that if this is even true, that is somehow due to race. Again, I don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, again, if he said, I don't like you, lady, because you're black, and the way you slammed that door infuriates me in a way that if a white person did it would be okay. But because you're black, oh my God, that ticks me off. I don't think that happened. I mean, at least it's not being reported that it happened. I don't think it's real. Nowadays, we have to do big leaps, big bounds to even come to the conclusion that's racist. Because again, there's no evidence to even suggest this. But apparently, she had used the restroom a third time. Watch this.
She says she never noticed any other first-class passengers complaining about the restroom or the door being slammed. She also pointed out that while that white passengers used the same first-class restroom without ever being confronted. However, she said the intensifying clash with the flight attendant ultimately caused the other passengers to become annoyed with her. The judge said she felt the flight attendant was singling her out for no other apparent reason than her skin color and believes beyond the shadow of a doubt that the confrontation was racially motivated. The flight attendant got back in the judge's face a third time when she used the first class restroom again about 30 minutes before the flight landed, defying his earlier command for her to use the lavatory at the back of the plane. This time, while walking back to her first class seat, the judge said the flight attendant shadowed her and then put his hands on her before vowing that she would be arrested as soon as the plane reached the airport. The judge said she withheld any response and walked back to her seat. The complaint states that the flight attendant didn't like the way Hillville talked to him and accused her of assault, which the judge denies. Quote, "This was a complete fabrication."
So again, let's recap for a second. Nothing was said racist at all. Nothing was said about race. Nothing. But she feels it was about race. So apparently it is. Because she feels it is. And again, we don't know the race of the flight attendant. We don't know. Again, I'm assuming he's not white. Because again, they would say if he was not. If he was white, they would have said that. They were screaming that from the rooftop. So I'm assuming he's not. But, I mean, nobody apparently likes this lady. You know, they said the pastors were annoyed with her. Now with the flight attendant. So maybe she was slamming the door. You know, again, maybe she was being nasty and rude. But if you're trying to win a lawsuit and all the witnesses, they don't like you, good luck. But apparently, this isn't the first time she has done this. Apparently, there's been other issues with this judge. But guys, I wanted to read to you part of an article from the Chicago Tribune back from 2012 when she was still a judge. And this kind of shines light on what kind of person she is. Judge Pamela Vale refused to cooperate with the Bar Association evaluations, a signal that she's counting on clout, not voters, to keep her on the bench. 4 years ago, the appellate court admonished her for wrongly jailing an attorney for contempt of court. The Judicial Performance Commission of Cook County, which evaluates judges with an eye towards improving their effectiveness, says her reputation for bad temper is undermining her ability to function as a reputable jurist. She has anger management issues to the point where she has a hard time doing her job. She is not a reliable jurist. But, I mean, again, they want to pass it off like this lady is some esteemed judge. First of all, she's retired. Second off, she's not. You know, again, she has history of anger issues that affect her ability to do her job. And on top of all that, we don't know the race of the flight attendant. And again, I'm sure he's not white because we know that will be all over the media. And even if this happened, and I doubt any of it's true, but even if it happened, you know, again, we had to understand nothing was said about race. Nobody said, you know what, I don't like you the way you black woman shut doors. Nothing. She said it's about race because she feels it's about race. And again, feelings aren't facts. We have to acknowledge that to at least some degree. So again, the entire thing, I'm willing to bet the lion's share of it is made up. And again, they're trying to pass this off as white supremacy. Why? Because again, they love to push this whole idea of white supremacy, of the racist white people out there riding up and down the road on their horses with white sheets on. It's not true. It's not even close to being true. But again, that's what they like to push. But guys, I want to show you one last thing of them trying to build up this case against American Airlines.
American Airlines faced two discrimination accusations just last year, 2023. One was involving track star Sha'Carri Richardson, and the other involving musician David Ryan Harris. Richardson was kicked off an American Airlines flight January 2023 after an alleged verbal altercation with a flight attendant whom she claimed was harassing her for filming a video. American Airlines has faced accusations, discriminations against Black travelers, of discrimination against Black travelers. In 2017, the NAACP issued a travel advisory urging Black people to not fly American Airlines due to complaints. Sharon, thoughts here?
My thoughts are that if people keep saying American Airlines is being racist towards them, American Airlines is being racist.
You know, American Airlines is racist. They must be, because of these claims. No. We have to remember we live in a culture to where, again, we're trying to look for any evidence of white supremacy. Any evidence. And again, there's not much at all, if any. I mean, sure, there are a few people white people that don't like you because of your race, and that's it. But again, you're not going to find many. And I'm serious, many at all. Now, I grew up in the South. You're not going to find many at all. Now, there are people that are going to disapprove of what Black people do. Not all, but many do, or accuse white people of when white people have done nothing at all. And again, what they do is they look in the past. Oh, you know, white people, I mean, look what all you've done. Slavery. And it's like, I wouldn't lie to her. You guys did that. And again, that's what they do. Jim Crow. I'm not even quite 50. I wasn't even alive during Jim Crow. What are you talking about? Yeah. That's what they do. So again, we got to believe that those two cases that they put up, again, says white supremacy. It proves that American Airlines is racist. No, it doesn't. Not in today's world, not even close. And the NAACP, give me a damn break. Now, I mean, again, they're an organization that attempts to find whatever they can. You know, again, they don't care about Black people. They don't. All they're doing is trying to stay relevant. That's it. I mean, we have got to understand, in today's world, you can say whatever you want. If you're a person of color, about a white person, you can say whatever you want. But, you know, if you're a white person, you better not say anything about a Black person, even if you're right. Even if they're doing something wrong, you can't criticize them. And if you do, you're a racist. And we have to understand, this entire story about the judge, I mean, come on. Again, we don't know the race of the flight attendant. We don't know. Number one. And number two, nothing that he allegedly said is racist. It's all on her feeling. I mean, again, it's nothing but BS. But if you guys would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks. You son of a.